All right, everyone, welcome back to Rhythm and Roads. Merry Christmas. We have a very special guest. This next guest, he's a music artist and also an author of his new book, The Shore Speaks. Welcome, Tyler Daniel, to Rhythm and
That's
Roads. It's a
me.
pleasure to have you on.
Yeah, Joshua, man, I appreciate you having me here.
Oh yeah, man. I'm looking forward to getting to know you and hearing about your story of just how you became a music artist, hearing about your songs, and of course your latest book, The Shore Speaks, which, I'm really looking forward to know more about it. But from the title, I
Sure,
mean the
yeah.
title and the look of it, it actually looks pretty cool, dude. So I'm actually really
Thank
looking
you.
forward to hearing about that. So yeah, man, welcome.
Cool.
But yeah, if you want to get, we can start with chapter one of your story of how you got started on just music and just kind of share about your songs.
Sure, yeah. So my project is called Shepherd Bridge, and I don't know. I'm in a really echoey room. I don't know if that's gonna
Oh,
bother
that's
you or
cool, dude.
not.
It's all
Okay,
good.
cool. Um, so yeah, no, I've been doing music. I mean, you always people say I've been doing music my whole life, but really, yeah, I've been doing music my whole life. Started off, and I really loved writing, and picked up the guitar when I was about 12, 13, and
Oh,
have been
wow.
writing, since then, and just kind of exploring. And I've written a few books as well, kind of going along, and written lots of songs. And I'm only recently starting to kind of explore and combine those things together. And yeah, The Source Speaks is I think the fifth book I've written, but this is the first one that I'm
Really?
actually like
Wow.
attempting to publish out in the world because
Okay.
finally I have like a story that I want people to read,
Yeah.
something that's important to me, and yeah, so
All right. So, let's go back to what you were saying on you started learning guitar at 12. So, what interested
mhm.
you to want to pursue music? Like, is your music running your family? Was it something like why guitar? There's so many different instruments, like what made you choose that particular instrument?
Sure, yeah, no, it definitely was a family thing.
Okay.
My grandpa was in an old Mexican band
Oh,
in
yeah.
his youth, and seeing pictures and hearing stories on that. And my older cousin, I was 12 and he was like 15, 16, so he was like the cool cousin, and he played guitar and wrote songs, and we listened to a lot of the same music, and so I looked up to him as well, and it just
Wow.
seemed really natural to want to be like these people that were older than me and cooler than me that I wanted to be like, so. And I was already writing at that point, and
How are you? Okay.
learning, yeah, and learning the guitar, obviously that the songwriting element kind of came with that, and that's kind of been my angle, but yeah.
That's good, man. So you had some family that were, of course, there were a lot of influence on you, on your songwriting, which got you started and uh, motivated you to learn guitar. So that's good because
Yeah, yeah.
my family's pretty big in the music too. On like my dad sings and plays guitar, my brother plays guitar, so it's a lot of musicians. But I could tell, but looking up to other musicians in the family has really, yeah, gotten me to that point when I was young to pursue playing drums because I'm a drummer.
Well,
um,
that's cool.
but yeah, dude, I mean, kudos to you and how to write songs because that's something I had a hard time doing.
I feel like that was
So
kind of my that's always been my strength, and it actually I kind of wish it was the other way around. I wish I would have learned a lot more guitar
oh, really?
um, before I started writing. Yeah, because I remember when I was learning it, I'm self-taught, right?
Oh, okay.
And I remember like kind of hitting a wall where like I got to a skill level and I wrote my first song, and I don't remember ever going past that skill level because I'm like, oh, this is more fun for me.
Okay.
Um, and now that I'm 31 years old, I'm finally starting to expand my musical, repertoire, or however you pronounce that fancy
Yeah.
word.
No, yeah,
And
yeah. No, that's cool. Yeah.
yeah, I play for my church too,
Oh, do
and
you?
that's
Okay.
definitely pushed me to to like learn more of the technical side of things and start to hone my craft a little bit more. But I kind of wished I kind of took your path where I didn't do the songwriting. I just like honed the instrumentation and then introduced it. But I'm happy with where it's at.
That's cool, man. And do you have any songs that you've released or anything on Apple or Spotify?
Yeah, so we Shepherd Ridge is my music project.
Okay.
The debut album just came out 2 weeks ago, actually.
Oh, really?
And
Congrats, man.
yeah, thank you.
Nice.
Yeah, we've been working on that for 5 years.
Whoa. Five
Yeah, so it's
years?
been it's been a long time coming, man.
Yeah.
And it's finally out on Spotify, Apple Music, all the fun places. And it's a full 12 track
Wow.
album. So
And this is
yeah,
your first album?
correct.
Wow. Okay. Well, yeah, I definitely want to check that out. So, what's the genre of of the music? Is it like Christian bass? Is it pop rock? I mean, what kind of style?
It's I'd say it's more alternative rock.
Alternative rock?
Got a
Okay.
lot of it's got a lot of folk influence too. Like the album, it's really a love letter to like all of the music that's kind of gotten me through life, right?
Right.
Like me, I'm a Christian man, so that's a big part of my story.
That's
But
good. Yeah.
music is trying to convey a story and a message, and so the music isn't like Christian music, but I'm a Christian. That's a big part of my
Right.
story. So that's definitely
Right.
that shows in the music, right? And the um the full concept project Shepherd Bridge is the album and the novel, and as a whole, yes, it's Christian. You've got the Christian themes. The album itself, though, is not technically Christian because it tells the story of my testimony, and a lot of my life was me getting to the point where I am now.
Wow.
um,
Okay.
so yeah.
Well, just before we jump into that, because I definitely want, if you're okay to share about it, but
Yeah,
I
yeah,
like I like the fact that your music, like you described, probably reminds me a little bit of Amberlin. Remember that band Amberlin?
I do remember
Dude,
Amberlin.
I
Yeah.
love Amberlin, bro. But that's the thing about Amberlin is Stephen Christian, the lead singer, he's actually a pastor now. He left the band to pursue being a pastor full time. But
Well, that's
one thing
cool.
about yeah, the cool thing about Stephen Christian though is a lot of his music, of course, in the band of Amberlin had hidden messages of faith and God,
Yeah.
and I like that. You know, I mean, yes, I'm a Christian myself, and I love Christian bands like Newsboys, DC Talk, Relying K, Switchfoot, Third Day, you know, all that, Toby Mac. But then there's
hmm
that side of like alternative rock, like Amberlin and Creed, POD,
Yeah.
that is still kind of like on the fence of like, could it be Christian or could it be
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
for everyone, you know? And that's cool too to hear. So that's cool that your
Yeah.
album's kind of like that style.
And that's definitely intentional. So Thrice is my favorite band. And kind of the same thing, like the lead singer Dustin Kensrue, like they've released 13 albums now.
Whoa,
And
okay.
he was a lead worship pastor for a while. And so like those Christian themes are really, really clear there.
Yeah.
At the time, as I'm listening to the music, it wasn't clear because I wasn't at that point yet. But now that I'm, 31, where I'm at, I look back at the breadcrumbs and I realize like, oh man, like I was being there's a message being conveyed to me that got me through what I went through,
Mm,
and it was a Christian message, and I didn't even realize it. And I
wow.
think that's the power of music, specifically when you can broaden the lens a little bit and say like
Oh yeah.
this isn't for Christians, this is for everyone.
Right.
Um, I just think that you can cast a wider net and kind of lead people to a sense of peace. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I agree. Yeah, you're right on the money on that. But if you'd like to share a bit of your testimony, that way because I don't know much about your testimony, but that way
Yeah, yeah.
we can relate it to your album that's out now. So,
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, I'll tell a little bit about my testimony. So as far as my journey, so Shepherd Bridge, it's a concept project,
mhm.
and it's I designed it to be a vessel to transport a message of hope and resilience, and I do that through music and storytelling and visual art. So, and the reason why is because my testimony, at a really young age, I was exposed to like the dark side of that kind of stuff, right? Demonic experiences,
Really? Wow.
abuse and addiction, and just not the best kind of settings for that. And using music as a kind of a life raft, for that. Writing my whole life up until where I'm at now. I definitely wanted to kind of capture that experience that we are talking about, where like you look back and you realize like I was being protected that whole time, and I didn't even know it. And music was a big part of that for me.
Yeah.
I wanted to try to capture that for other people as well, to where I could try to convey a message and hopefully help people through similar circumstances.
Dang, man. Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, that was
kind of,
that was pretty deep in the beginning right there.
yeah,
Um,
kind of heavy stuff, right?
but but I just want to ask you, like, when did you come to that point in your life that you realized that you needed Jesus, to accept him as your Lord and Savior? Like, what was that point from that dark journey of your life to the point of that?
Yeah, good question, man. And I don't mind talking about this stuff. It's actually in my book a lot as well,
Okay, cool.
which we could talk about in a little bit. But no, there's a point I was about 19, and having experienced all this, I just kind of thought that's the way the world worked. I didn't know that there was another side to that. I just thought it was darkness. I didn't know that there was a light.
Wow.
And it was actually when I met my wife, and her dad is a very, very faith-driven man, and he kind of performed like the first like blessing on like a physical space that I ever experienced.
Really?
And
Okay.
yeah, because yeah, we were experiencing some stuff, and that kind of stuff was following me. And anyways, he
Wow.
performed a blessing. I've never experienced that before, and I at the time, like most of my life, I was a loud atheist kind of a person, right? And
Wow.
I would
Okay.
make fun of Christians, and that's kind of where I was at. Um,
That's crazy.
and I remember when that moment happened, like the physical like expelling of what was happening in that house. I remember like looking at my wife and my father-in-law afterwards, like what what was that?
Oh,
like I've
really?
never
Wow.
like I've never experienced anything like that, and so that's the first time really that I can remember in my testimony that I realized like, oh man, like there's a lot more that I don't understand. And I need to kind of pursue that so I can understand it. And yeah, man, it's just the rest is
So,
history.
well, yeah, wow. I want to actually get back to what you just mentioned about something that came out, or what was it? Like, what did you experience in that moment? You said you felt something in the room or in the house that just threw you off. Like, what was that?
Yeah, it was almost like oh man, it was like a vacuum. Like that's hard. Yeah, I mean that's the best way I can explain it. Like very clearly there is like a thick weight just like
Wow.
in the air that I didn't know was there until that blessing happened. And just like I just felt it be
Wow.
vacuumed out.
Like you
And there
felt
was this
freedom, freedom.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And I didn't know how that felt up until that point.
Wow.
I thought
Dude, that's crazy.
I thought I was living up until that point. And then I realized like, oh man, like there's a lot I don't understand. I'm in a very naive place, and I need to explore this a little bit. And it took a long time. I'm not gonna lie. I'm a stubborn guy. That happened when I was 19, and I'd say I finally gave my life to Christ when I was, I think, 27. So it took
Wow.
it took a while.
27?
It
Yeah.
wasn't an overnight change. Like,
Yeah.
it was like breadcrumbs. You know what I mean? And for me personally, storytelling and music was a big part of that,
Wow, man.
progression. And that's why Shepherd Bridge is so important to me, because I want to be able to try to capture that for people as well.
Oh yeah, dude. Yeah, I'm looking forward to talking about that shortly. But I just want to really, if you don't mind me asking at this point, were you ever involved with like demonic kind of like rituals and certain like Satanist stuff? Did you ever
Mm,
do that?
that's a good question. Not really.
Okay.
I remember playing with like a Ouija board a couple times in
Oh,
high school.
crap, man.
And I think that's probably as bad as it got. And
Yeah,
that was
that
like
I
a
should. Yeah, I
and
heard stories behind playing with that, dude. That's like I've never done it, but
and we were
yeah.
just stupid kids. It was at a party and that kind of stuff. So it wasn't anything crazy. Um,
Did you
yeah, I think
experience anything
more
during
than
that time when you played when you messed with it?
oh, yeah, for sure.
Oh,
Yeah,
dude, that's crazy.
yeah, no
Wow.
way, man, no way. But
Yeah.
yeah, it wasn't anything that I worshipped. I think more than anything, before I got to that point in my life, I think I worshipped my own pain. I think is what it was.
Whoa.
I think that's really like I kind of talked about how like the environment I grew up in wasn't the safest, and I remember using that almost as. And again, this took a long time for me to get to this point where I can understand this and talk about it.
Yeah.
But I think what I was doing is I would use my living circumstance as almost like a weapon against the world to to use to justify my bad actions, or my perspectives, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So I think I made my suffering into an idol in my
Wow.
youth. Yeah. So I think that, like, as far as your question goes, I think that is probably yeah, that's the idol that I worshipped up until that point, and that's not a good place to be, you know.
Oh no, dude. I'm glad that you're still even alive after what you probably went through at that time, dude.
Yeah,
Because who knows? Yeah, like you said earlier in the interview that you felt that you were protected, right?
sure, yeah,
Certain things that you couldn't understand why. And at the time you weren't even aware of God or you didn't have a relationship with Jesus. So
yeah.
yeah, dude, that's like wow.
I
What a
think I think a big
testimony.
part of that too is protectors. Like you're
Yeah,
protected, and then there's protectors. I think you look at your back trail and you realize all the protectors that God's placed in your life.
yeah,
I've had, it takes an army to get through this world, and we're not supposed to do it alone. We're
right.
supposed to have community and lean on each other, and that's a big part of the book and the novel, or the book and the novel, it's the same thing. That's a big part of the novel and the album is
Mhm.
that community of an army that like bands together to advocate for each other as well. That's
Wow,
that's really
man.
important.
Well, before we move on, I want to ask you, and I thank you again for sharing an incredible testimony. But I want to
Yeah,
ask
yeah, for
you,
sure, man.
when you gave your life to Christ, did you feel like I should have done this a long time ago because of that certain freedom you felt, but also the love that it was something because you didn't apparently you were into, like you said, the idol of the harm, of the pain, and that's something you looked up to and you put really above in your life. But then once you actually
Hmm.
felt the unconditional love from Christ, the love that poured into you, the freedom that came with that, did you feel like, man, like, how did I miss this majority, half of my 10 years, 11 years, you know what I mean?
Yeah, sure. The crazy response to that is no, actually.
No?
I feel like I needed to. First off, I wouldn't have been ready mentally. I
Mm,
wouldn't be ready. I wouldn't have a heart posture, right? Like the intentionality behind everything is the most important part.
yeah.
Why are you doing what you're doing? You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
I definitely I've taken my testimony and the experiences that I've gone through in that 10-year gap of everything I learned, and I pour it into my projects and into
Mm,
my relationships and my family, my friends. Like I think I had to go through those things
yeah.
to get to that point, and I'm glad I did, and I'm glad
Yeah.
that it took the time that it did. So now I can pour out in a way that's I feel like
No,
more of
yeah.
an impact.
No, yeah. I agree. Yeah, and like you said, there are certain things that God lets us go through for a while. Like you said, with you, if you hadn't gone through what you did, then you wouldn't have appreciated the outcome of what he's doing now.
Absolutely.
So
Yeah.
yeah, well said, man. Yeah. Yeah, I've heard
Thank you.
different
Thank you.
I've just heard different responses from people like, man, I regret I didn't give my life to Christ when I was a teenager or my early
Mhm.
20s. Just a lot of time that I wasted just putting my self image first and making myself like a god instead of putting him first.
Sure.
And
Yeah.
and we've all been through it, dude. Like I've gone through my own journey too of just making sometimes what I would do, putting it first than him, and you start to get lost in it, and then you start to feel like, wait a minute, am I doing this for my own pleasure? Am I doing it to honor him? And so that's what you
Yeah.
have to kind of like step back and really ask God sometimes for forgiveness and saying, man, I'm sorry that I make this sometimes my self-image of who I am instead of saying, no, I'm a child of God. I need to put that as my self-image is I'm, a Christian but believer in Christ and I'm a man of God, not to make it seem as, oh, this is my image of rhythm and roads, or I'm a musician, filmmaker, this and
Mhm.
that. Because God will use that through you of your talents and skills, but don't make it of who you are.
Exactly. Yeah.
So anyway,
Yeah.
but
Exactly. Well put, man.
yeah, man. All right, man. Well, let's get into your book. So
Let's
the
do it.
Shore Speaks. Yeah.
That's
So
it.
interesting title. So share about it, man.
Yeah. So, like I said, I've been a writer for a while, and I remember when I was getting the album ready to go, and I was kind of structuring because some of the songs I wrote on the album I wrote when I was 14.
Oh wow.
So going through those things, I'm writing songs along the way, and then having encounters with Jesus, writing songs about that, and then getting to a point where I can look back at it all. I'm like, this is my testimony in these songs. So kind of structuring that from like almost like a story, right? From a beginning, middle, and end. And I remember I was sitting at a coffee shop and I started just doing these little like journal entries that tied to the songs. And I kind of realized like, wait a minute, like this is a book. And from that point, I'm like, wait, this is the book that I've been waiting to publish because up until that point, I haven't gotten to a story where I'm like, yeah, this is the one that, that I want people to read. But The Shore Speaks finally is. And so, yeah, I wrote The Shore Speaks, and it basically, it's a fiction version of my testimony.
Oh.
Kind of think like C.K. Lewis, Chronicles of Narnia.
Oh yeah. Cool.
Yeah, where it's like it's fantasy, it's fiction, and not high fantasy. Like there's no elves or, I'm a
Yeah.
nerd, but that's not what the
Yeah. Yeah.
story's like at all.
No, that's fine.
Um, but yeah, no. So it's a fiction version of my life, and it follows a protagonist named the Voyager, and he basically has to go on a voyage, a mission with his crew to basically preserve his island people, basically, because they're being hunted by something called the evil things. And if he doesn't find the shore, then everyone's doomed. And that's what the
Oh,
story is about. So it's about this voyage to find the shore, and all the while the shore's talking to the Voyager, guiding them there. And it's all about yeah, my life, my testimony,
dang, dude.
and everything. So yeah.
That's awesome. Wow. And so is this book kind of tied into the album that you mentioned, your latest one too? It's kind of like, or is it separate from it, like its own?
It's a little bit of both.
Okay.
You don't have to read the book and listen to the album. Like you could do either one and
Okay.
still get the whole thing. But the chapter titles and the tracks match, right?
Okay.
So there's like the first chapter is Mountainside on the book, and the first track on the album is Mountainside, right? So if that makes sense.
Yeah. Right.
So that matches the themes match. So whatever thematically the song is about, the chapter is also about. And so yeah, they are connected, but you could experience one without the other, and that's fine.
That's
You'd be
cool.
okay.
All right. And then so for the viewers to find your book, is it available on Amazon, Barnes and Noble,
hmm
or
Yep.
where?
Yeah. So as of right now, all online, right? You can go to my website, shepherdbridgeofficial.com. You can find it there. You could also go to Barnes and Noble, Amazon, Walmart, just kind of wherever you get your
Oh, really?
books.
Wow.
Um, yeah, and I'm in the process of getting it physically on bookshelves right now.
Oh, you
I
are? Okay.
just got my first. Yeah, it's a whole marketing thing, man.
Oh,
Like
I
it's
bet.
a lot of
Yeah.
work,
I bet it
and
is.
it is going to be. So I'm from Boise, Idaho, and
Oh, cool.
there's a local bookstore downtown that just picked it up, so that'll be on their shelves for
Oh,
a little
nice.
bit. So
Okay.
yeah,
That's
yeah,
cool.
man.
And so physical copies will be available like probably early next year or
Yeah, and so you can order paperback or ebook, and I'll mail you a copy basically. So
okay.
you can have a physical copy, but like physically bookshelf copies, yeah, will be available next year. So
That's cool, dude. And
yeah,
so
man.
yeah, I just thank you again for sharing just your incredible testimony and then just how cool Shepherd Bridge. So that's you said that's the band, right? Or from the album?
Mhm. Yeah. So it's the project, right? So Shepherd
Okay.
Bridge is the band name, and then in the book, Shepherd Bridge. Excuse me. Yeah, I just had lunch. There's a piece of rice.
That's
Um, in the book, Shepherd Bridge is the name of the ship that they're on.
okay. I see.
So
That's a
that's
cool
the
title. I like it. Shepherd Bridge, yeah.
thanks, man.
Is there any meaning behind it, the title, or is just
It's biblical. Yeah, it was a prayer moment, and I remember when I was starting to come up with the concept and everything, I was trying to figure out how to do it right? And I remember being prayed over a lot, by my pastor and having these moments where the those two words just kept showing up again and again.
really? Wow.
Yeah, and so I'm like,
Okay.
okay, Shepherd Bridge it is, which makes sense, right? If you think about, I'm trying to be a bridge, my
Yeah,
testimony to your testimony.
right.
Yeah, but
No, that's cool, dude. Yeah, actually, so for us to look up your album, the music album is definitely under the title Shepherd Bridge because that's the band,
yep,
correct? Just to make things
correct.
clear. Okay.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
then define your book. They can go on Shepherd Bridge official on Instagram.
Mhm.
Yeah. Or your website, your
Yep,
personal website as well.
yep, or my website. Yep.
Okay, cool. Well, before we end on this interview on this episode, it's such a pleasure to have you, Tyler. Let's get to know you more on your the side of just what music you like, because I mean, I'm a musician. That's one thing I always like to talk about. But like as of now, are you more familiar with Christian bands than you were prior to becoming a Christian? A little bit. That's
So
fine.
so, little
Oh,
bit, yeah. I listen to a lot of like Brandon Lake and Cody Carnes, that kind of stuff.
okay.
Elevation worship. Just because I'm
Nice.
in church, the church, worship team, so
Oh, that's
that's
cool.
part of
Yeah.
the homework, right? And I really appreciate the way worship music is written structurally too.
Yeah.
Usually like the actual buildup doesn't start until like minute seven in the song. Um,
That's true. Yeah.
which
There's some.
which I kind of appreciate.
Yeah. What is it that you do
Um,
for the church?
I play guitar.
Oh, you do? Okay. Are you
Yeah,
like the
yeah.
worship leader, or are you just like a backup
No,
guitarist?
no, I'm just a backup guitarist.
Okay, cool, cool. No, yeah. I mean, just even playing for the worship team is just incredible. Just to be a part of a team that is there to glorify the Lord and just being, it's just
Hmm.
because I used to play sometimes the drums for some churches, and it's just a very different experience than being like part of
It is.
a band, like a band, right? I mean, both
Yeah,
experiences are great, but when you're actually part of a church and you're on the worship team and you see everyone just involved in their own space with the Lord and that personal experience, just something that's moving, it's just,
it's
it's just,
different. Yeah,
it is different. Yeah.
it's very different.
Yeah.
But as far as music I listen to a lot of Thrice. I love Thrice, man. A lot of 21 Pilots too. I think like those are my top
Yeah,
two favorite
those are
bands.
good. Yeah.
And they both glorify. You just don't know it, right? Which is kind of cool. And oh man, I've been listening to a lot of like Mumford and Sons.
Hey, they're
Highly,
good.
I
Yeah.
love Mumford and Sons. It's the same thing. Yeah,
Yeah.
the lead singer's Christian, and
No, that's
same
true.
thing. You can
Yeah.
find those themes. And oh my gosh, what else? I've been listening to a lot of Highly Suspect lately too.
Oh, have you?
Like a
Okay.
lot of like the really grungy alternative stuff. I've been a fan
Yeah.
of lately too.
Well,
Bad Flower, but
okay. No, yeah, thanks for sharing the list there. I was going to ask you, do you plan, I forgot to ask you this during the time we were on the subject of your book, but do you plan on doing a book tour?
yeah, I'd like to do. So I'm in my actual day job. I'm in education, so I get the summers off.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'd love to. I'm gonna be hosting my first release event, to where
Okay.
I'm gonna play the music and I'm gonna read the book at this event that I'm
That
hosting.
is cool. Wow.
And
Okay.
I'm excited for that. That'll be in late January, and I'm gonna use that to kind of like test the waters on, because it's just different, you know.
Oh, yeah.
And so I'd love to go to a book tour. That's definitely a dream.
Yeah. Especially if you're off for the summer. I mean, you could even just do it for the summer,
Yeah, for sure.
like travel a few cities here and there, or whatever God opens the doors for you, man.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
No, yeah, but Tyler, I just want to say thank you again for coming on Rhythm and Roads, sharing an incredible testimony, and that right there is just it speaks volume of just the fact of here you were at a point of not believing in God, didn't want nothing to do with God. You held pain as your idol, as your God, but then as you really experience a love that's there and in your relationship with Christ and got to see who he is, it turns your world, man, where you're just like, man, like like that you probably had those thoughts, man. How come I did not know about this earlier in my life? But just
Hmm.
the certain time frame of when God shows up, it's for a good purpose. Maybe you, like you said earlier, you weren't probably ready for that at an early part of your life, but at this point now,
Hmm.
you knew your heart would be ready to accept it. So that's cool.
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
great story, man. Well, if you'd like
Thank
to
you.
share real quick your social media for them to find you, your website again, that we can make sure we find your work.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. So you can find me at Shepherd Bridge Official on the Instagram. I'm pretty active on there. I'm trying to post every other day.
Oh, nice.
And
Okay.
because I have a lot of content as far as the book, album, so there's lots going on. So see what I'm up to there. And then shepherdbridgeofficial.com is the website, and you can find all the stuff there as well. But yeah.
Sounds good, man. Well, congrats again on your new book and your new album as well. We look forward to seeing what 2026 brings for you, that little book tour. I mean, I know you're probably going to be focusing on maybe another album or maybe singles in the new year. Maybe.
It's a
Is that the
secret, but
goal?
yeah, probably.
Yeah, all right. That's fine, man. Well, thank you, Tyler, for coming on Rhythm and Road. Such a pleasure, brother, and Merry Christmas to you and your family and friends. And all right, guys. And if you'd like to come on and share your story, just follow Joshua Jacob Official. That's my Instagram. You can definitely message me and come on and share your story because every story I believe matters, and every story changes a life. By just one story can make a difference. So that's what I believe. And it's so far it's been 2 years of 100+ interviews. So there's someone out there that has heard a message, and the message of hope, of love, and a second chance, and knowing that you're not alone in this world, but God has a purpose for you and He has a plan for you, and just know that there's always hope. So, all right, guys, well, enjoy your Christmas. Thanks for coming on, Tyler.